Ask Reddit, what is the dumbest thing you did because you were horny? I almost jerked off while driving down the highway once, but then I thought if they found my mangled corpse in the wreck with my hand around my D, my family would be really disappointed. So my brain won that battle. Pre-nut clarity. When I was a kid, my dad would frequently take me to his job and give me meaningless tasks to help him out. He was a property manager for a secure gov building, federal guards at the doors, etc. Anyways, he had his office in the basement and was left alone down there by everyone else in the building. He would smoke cigarettes down there, blast music, etc. When I was 13, I went with him to work one day, and he gave me the job of using an electric sander to take grime off of copper pipes in one of the machine rooms. I was left alone to my task for hours, and about an hour in I realized how incredibly powerful the vibration was on the sander. One thing led to another, and I ended up grinding the handle of the sander on my D. After I finished, I remember even at 13 saying to myself, "You're really weird, dude." Never told anyone, till now. Jerked off in principal's office to his daughter's picture. Had 3 whole kids. 3 of them. I'm knackered. Tried to choke myself with a towel. Woke up in a hospital with my mom beside me. Paid for a corn subscription that I didn't realize I was still paying for until 1.5 years later. $1,135 for one orgasm. Haha, man, I did this back in the late 90s, and I could not for the life of me cancel the subscription, so I had to go to the bank and cancel my card. I was helping my dad close up the sailboat for the winter. We took the seat cushions out and the long ones had to go in the car between us, kind of stacked up like a wall so we could only see each other's heads. Teenage hormones kicked in on the hour ride home and I proceeded to rub one out while looking out the window. Many moons later, I told my brothers, who then proceeded to tell my dad. I always wondered why you were so quiet on that trip. Decided to masturbate into a urinal because I was bored and horny studying for finals when I was in college. I studied in an empty classroom in the creepiest old building on campus so that I could be completely focused and not be distracted. I hadn't seen anybody in that building for 3 hours, so I didn't feel the need to lock the bathroom door or do my business in a stall like a normal person. So I'm going to town on myself, and suddenly the bathroom door opens and I stop mid-fap. Foreskin noises stop suddenly. I just stood there holding my erect penis for a second, put it back in and leave without making eye contact. Still have no idea who that person was, but they definitely knew what I was doing and that I'm being weird. Where's that guy that fed a coconut? I feel like we need him in this thread. Drove 4 hours to the beach to camp with a buddy of mine. He stood me up and ghosted me. The icing on the cake was losing my keys in the sand and having to pay $300 for a new set to be cut. Paid for some chick's private Snapchat for a week. $20 wasted. Should have ordered a pizza instead. Girl offered to jerk me off if I let her copy my answers off of one of our finals. I thought it was going to be sometime after, but nope, it was right there during a lecture. Being a typical young guy, of course I wasn't gonna reject the offer. Still surprised to this day we weren't caught. Paid $2 for a massage app on my Xbox that was supposed to make my controller vibrate. It didn't do anything for me, and I forgot to refund it, so now I just have this random-ass massage game in my library. Discovered my D is too big for a prescription bottle. Edit, I would like to clarify that the girth was the limiting factor as I did not attempt flaccid. Cylinder. I was talking about this the other day, lol. I once walked 3 miles at 2 a.m. during a snowstorm and -3-degree temperatures when my girlfriend called and said that her parents were gone for the weekend. The things a horny 16-year-old kid will do to get laid. LOL. Paid $1,200 for a private room at Hustler in Vegas, threw the strippers a wild card and said, "Y'all sit down while I strip for you." WTF was I thinkin'? Irked off at the top of a mountain, looking over my city, as doing something forbidden was an interesting idea. Well, the view was amazing, but I was scared to get caught. Looking back, if someone would caught me, I had serious issues now. Called my friend's mom mommy. Tried sucking my own D when I was 12 and nearly snapped my spine in half. Implement a ratchet strap in my attempt one time. Actually started blacking out before I gave up and released it. After, all I could think about was my mom finding me dead, but naked with a ratchet strap behind my neck and under my ass. That would have been awful. Click click click. HNGHHGHGH. Several years back, a woman I had been flirting with called me in the middle of the night one time. BC, she wasn't feeling well and asked if I could pick up some medicine and bring it to her place. Went to her place not expecting too much other than maybe earning some brownie points for dropping off the meds. Anyway, she invites me in and asks if I could spend the night with her. That of course gets me all titillated. However, by the time we get into bed, she's all tired and drowsy, despite her best attempt at acting seductive. Next thing I know, I'm lying in bed next to her with my arm pinned under her body while she's snoring away and farting. I end up lying like that for the rest of the night. Got maybe 30 minutes of sleep that entire night, and of course, I then had to get up to work a whole shift in the morning. At least I did earn some brownie points for that. BC, we ended up dating for not quite a year afterwards. Sent my pippy to an ACC and they threatened me that if I didn't give them $300 they'd leak it. I sent them my pippy again. I don't care if they would leak it. LMAO. Peeped on my sister's best friend showering. I was 12. It's an extremely cringe memory that haunts me when I try to sleep at night. If I'd known the amount of torment it'd cause me in the future, I would have just watched some damn corn. When I was in the 8th grade, my teacher was a MILF. It was during English, while everyone was working on their essays, I was busy rubbing one out under the table. Finished in my boxers, then the post-nut clarity kicked in and I realized I had to wear those boxers all day. Underage, many years ago, me and my current wife were very little horny people. We used to go have fun under this highway underpass a little off the beaten path because our parents were always home. Well, it was also near a community center type building. One day when we were walking through the woods to get there, someone thought they seen a man abducting a child. My wife has always been very short. Yes, it was me. We are the same age, just have a crazy height difference, and I have had a beard from a young age, haha. Anyways, long story long, I was getting a BJ, and a cop came down to the underpass from the highway up above and yelled freeze. Let me tell you, we both froze. She wouldn't move and had her face covered, with my D still in her mouth. Then the cop just yelled at us saying, "Can't you guys be doing this at home?" Said he could see I wasn't underage and told us about the call. It was the most embarrassing thing to ever happen. We didn't even bring it up again for a few years. Now we are married and it is a funny memory. We even went back there to mess around a year ago. I had it so bad for this Chinese girl at university back in 2004, and she would not give me the time of day. I did everything I possibly could. Then in a moment of insane desperation and browsing shit during the earlier days of the internet, I found some sort of self-proclaimed wizard living in California who specialized in love spells, and I shit you not, my 20-year-old brain thought it was a good idea to send said wizard $200 to cast the spell. Suffice it to say, the spell did not work. To this day, I still can't believe how stupid I was. Male hormones are ridiculous things. I was dating a girl at work and we would regularly have fun at her side of our business complex. Though she was part of the same company, she was part of a separate regional division and not part of corporate, so her office was typically always empty besides her. One time we were really hot and heavy into it inside the restroom, and against our better judgment, we decided but stuff was a good idea. So we did our thing and I blew the biggest, deepest load into her ass imaginable. As I pulled out, there was a fair amount of poop on my D, and I walk over to the sink to try and wash it off. As I'm rinsing myself into the sink, we hear the door to her office open and a large group of coworkers walk in. I panic and immediately try to put my D away, and as I drop from my tiptoes, I slam my nutsack up against the wall of the sink and pull my taint skin so hard I almost buckled in pain. She runs out of the restroom and closes the door behind her, and I'm sitting in the dark on the toilet seat with shit on my D and balls hurting contemplating my life choices. I was freshly out of a relationship with my abusive ex, and I just wanted the first fun after him to not mean anything and not be with anyone important nor anyone I'd meet again. So I went on this anonymous dating site for hookups local to my region and just went with the best person. Off I went to the capital without telling anyone at all where I was going or with whom. We met at a station in the outskirts of a suburb. I got into his car and he took me to a parking lot close to the airport. We had fun in the back where he had folded down his back seat, and then he drove me back to the main train station. I did some shopping for new underwear, went to a toilet and changed into fresh underwear. Freshened up and then took the train back to arrive at church in time for rehearsal in my church choir. I don't know his name or anything. Couldn't pick him out of a lineup. Super dangerous. I could have been abducted or killed. Thank you for watching, friend. Until next time, and remember to stay hydrated.